It's been years since I could recall a phone made by Google being relatively competitive in the spec sheet realm. The brand new Google Pixel 10 Pro does not break that mold. However, what I have come to accept and even expect and respect from that search giant is that this is just the way of life for a Pixel user. While reviewing phones that are not Pixels, I quickly found myself feeling out of place, and even though they're all Android devices, as soon as I got back onto the 2025 Pixel model, I knew exactly the direction this review would be directed towards. The Pixel 10 Pro is an ecosystem phone first and foremost. It is in an Android ecosystem at that. I'm not talking about Android ecosystem. I'm stuck in a Google ecosystem that only a Pixel branded phone seems to be able to solve. I'm Alex from the Sypnotix. This is my full review of the Google Pixel 10 Pro. Let's start off with the same ordeal people debate about every single year since Google moved over to their own processors. The Pixel 10 Pro uses Google's Tensor G5 processor, and our model here, as well as all the other models, has 16 gigabytes of RAM supporting it. And like previous years, there's no micro SD card slot, nor is there a SIM tray anymore. This is a fully eSIM operating phone, and I'd rather use my nano SIM, but that's just the way the market has moved towards, and it does make for an extremely clean looking frame layout, as there's only 3 buttons on the entire thing, a USB-C port, and 2 speaker grills on the entirety of the frame. The Tensor SoC remains a controversial topic for many internet forums, and while this isn't the fastest phone I've reviewed, I do think it does fine as a flagship level option. There's a sense of a fluid operation through Android 16 on this Pixel 10 Pro that I don't necessarily feel on other flagship Android phones. It's a difference between being fast and being fluid, so let's talk about that right now. The subtle haptic feedback while pulling down, say, the menus in unison with the ascending Gaussian blurring of the home menu, everything here just makes the user operating experience feel like a premium show. I didn't notice any particular slowdown points during my review period with the Pixel 10 Pro, but if you put it side to side with some more powerful phones out there, sure, you might see something. But I did see a couple lockdown scenarios where the phone would prevent any further interaction with it until I cleared all the background apps. So not the greatest thing there that we're seeing bugs like that still in our current time era. There are minor annoyances that happen here and there that aren't ideal, but it wasn't anywhere close to a breaking point for me in regards to, I guess, complaining about this G5 processor. Now, it's true that the Pixel 10 Pro doesn't really handle mobile gaming like a flagship phone at this price point should, and that's not really the point of this phone. The highly publicized switch from ARM to Imagination Technologies' Power VR DXT481536 GPU isn't as rough as many online conversations would have you think. Yes, you can still run about every mobile game on the Play Store about as smoothly as one can hope for on a smartphone. The Pixel runs warm relatively quickly while gaming, though. It's sometimes unacceptably warm. Here is the main issue plaguing the Pixel 10 Pro's reputation. While it's sufficient enough to run things, it's obviously behind other competitors in this price tag. Not everybody likes to feel like they're getting the wrong end of the stick on expensive purchases. I think it's fair to say that if getting the best gaming performance and experience of gaming out of a smartphone is your priority, then the Pixel 10 Pro obviously isn't the optimal choice for that stuff. So then you may be asking, if pure operational performance isn't the selling point of a piece of technology like this, then what makes me want to crave going back onto a Pixel? The first thing I really missed was just how advanced Google's call receiving structure was. I never realized how much I missed that. Every phone maker is taunting and throwing AI down consumers' throats to make it seem like you have this personal assistant in your pocket, ready to take down notes, ready to answer calls, ready to avoid spam for you. No one does it as well as Google. I'm not even talking about Android. I'm talking about Google Pixels. From the auto spam declines, the pre-screening, the question conversing it does with unwanted callers, all of these functions are bar none in the smartphone industry right now. The Pixel's spam screening is effortless. It doesn't require any setup. It's just there and it just works immediately when the phone boots. I can't stress just how big of an everyday game changer this feature has been over the years. The other no setup required feature I keep going back to on a Pixel is a VPN. Don't get me wrong, I'm still absolutely disgusted with Google for shamelessly dropping the one VPN service that used to come with the one subscription, but Pixel owners do have this built-in Pixel VPN service that is handy to have. And as far as I know, I don't know any other OEM when you buy their smartphone that gives you a VPN. It's not great, nor does it give you flexibility and versatility to do certain things you may want a VPN to do for you. But once again, it's a no nonsense and ready to go function feature, and you can use it immediately out of the box. And then on the photo taking front, a lot of the specialties that make a Pixel camera so great carry over to the Pixel 10 Pro. Gemini AI, assisting editing, the video boost feature, magic audio eraser, and night sight. These aren't specifically unique to the 10 Pro, but are also bound to the Pixel ecosystem. They're experiences that I don't realize are just so vital to my everyday operation of a smartphone until I'm not holding a Pixel in my hand. The 10 Pro is a refinement of exclusivity because that's where the world of technology is right now. Physical hardware changes are no longer evolving like they were when the Pixels first came out. The software experience is vital in how the cog flows in selling modern smartphones, and Gemini AI plays a pivotal part to everything Google does going forward. No one currently has AI implemented as well as Google does right now. Take this magic queue feature that pulls up information from your email right into your phone app during the call when the Pixel recognizes the calls related to some sort of substance that you're discussing about from your email. Instead of physically having to open up that email to grab that booking information of a car or your plane ticket during the call, the phone truly acts as an assistant that knows cognitively what you're doing and presents you that information on the screen you're currently in without you needing to switch over. That's amazing. I have to say, this is the first time I've seen something so beneficial. That's beneficial AI right there. It really is. I often complain about AI on phones and its useless implementation, and they don't contribute much. But this, I cannot complain at all. This is exactly what I want AI to do to help me out. Google just gets AI for now. And then I've also come to expect just about the same exact viewing experience on my high-end Pixel phones. To my eye, the 6.3-inch 1280 by 2856 OLED display gives off about like the same vibrant viewing experience as previous years. On paper, the OLED panel is brighter than ever, hitting a peak number of 3,300 nits. The refresh rate of 120 Hz and nearly 500 ppi, it's a 495 ppi count. I'd say many people will be quite happy with watching stuff on this. Viewing angles are terrific all around once again, and the sharpness of the text is phenomenal for my eyes. It's a great display. Then you have an under-display fingerprint scanner, and it's about as good as I think a scanner of this type will get under the glass. It's quite reliably accurate, and I don't have anything to complain about here. Same goes for face unlock. They've pretty much reached the peak of what this kind of stuff will be in recent years, and it's more of the same here on the 10 Pro. Speaking of Pixel staples, though, the 10 Pro and the 9 Pro share identical hardware. Yes, the same 50 megapixel f1.7 wide camera, the same 48 megapixel f2.8 periscope telephoto lens, and the same 48 megapixel f1.7 ultra wide sensor. Google has definitely done this rinse and repeat before while touting any improvements to be software based. This year, the Pixel 10 Pro's AI-driven processing is the main marketing material for Google to tout onto the public. It's a good camera once again, but I don't really see any generational leaps that really have me jumping out of my seat. The phone does a great job at doing everything really automatically. It auto-exposes for the right subjects 8 out of 10 times. It auto-focuses to the target 9 out of 10 times. Even the artificial blur is almost flawless at a glance. Where AI kicks in is helping the pictures essentially process the midtones, the shadows, and things a person normally would edit themselves on Lightroom. It doesn't always hit right, but when it does way more frequently than it doesn't. Pictures are often, I would say, post ready for your social media accounts right off of the camera app. And to a lot of people, that holds a lot of value. You can just snap something and post it, and you seem like you know what you're doing. The Pixel cameras have always been amazing companions for general consumers, taking pleasing photos of your loved ones, your pets, your vacation spots, and of yourself. These things should not be restricted to an enshrined sense of a learned skill set. Photography is an art form, but photo taking should be accessible to everyone. That's what Google does with the Pixel cameras. Aside from Apple and maybe Samsung, and I've used so many of these smartphone cameras, I don't really know of another OEM that can say this so effortlessly. Powering through with a 4870 milliamp hour battery, the Pixel 10 Pro doesn't have class leading longevity or anything close to that. I find the battery life to be average and just barely acceptable. I'm looking at a consistent 13 to 15 hours off a charge with moderate adult work life balance. Lots of emails, article reading, video streaming, smart home controlling, phone calls, text messages, mind that stuff. Mind you, this is also without any heavy gaming involved in this data that I've been researching here. The experience is saved by the fact that this has fast wire charging, 30-watt wire charging through the USB-C port. You can get 55% back in around 30 minutes on the cable. Wire charging has been the only means available to me, though, that can get the phone fully charged. While the 10 Pro supports 15-watt wireless Qi charging, I've been running into this charging issue, a lot of charging issues with this wireless route. Even using Google's own Pixel stand, which I have a couple of them, the phone refuses to keep charging up. This has nothing to do with adaptive charging routines or setting the limit to charge up to 80%, as I've evaluated all combinations of these settings both on and off. I've even tested out multiple charging bricks with varying power capacities to eliminate any potential logistical compatibilities. I've charged with and without cases too, and I'm still getting the same results. I can't charge the phone to 100%. Pixel 10 Pro just decides to stop charging wirelessly in unpredictable patterns. One day I'll stop charging at 60%, another it will be at 48. I would then run another day with the same parameters and it would charge up to 92. Soft resets don't remedy the phone's refusal to charge consistently and constantly either. I'm baffled. And then, Google put a lot of stock into marketing their MagSafe competitor that they so adequately named Pixel Snap. Unfortunately, the same thing is happening with a direct magnetic connected charge. The Pixel 10 Pro just cannot charge up to 100% without the cable in the USB-C slot. From a hardware perspective, I find the look and the feel of the 10 Pro to be rather courtly. The phone is just mature, has a mature vibe behind it that, oddly enough, discarded that playfulness that the previous editions of the Pixels exuded from, Made with a glossy aluminum frame sandwiching Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on both the front and the back, I do like the overall design of the phone. I have the moonstone color that completely eliminates that flamboyant touch of the brighter colors, anyone remember orange, that Google previously associated with the products. The entire vibe of this 10 lineup has matured, and the build quality and the presentation, they all attribute to all of it. Speaking of maturity, there have been a lot of conversions from vertical to horizontal camera bars recently on the smartphone market, but Google has been refining their camera bar for a few generations now. It still slightly protrudes a bit more off the glass back than I would like to see, but it's not too bad with a slightly thicker case evening things out on the back so that it can lay flat. With Pixel phones, everything harkens back to Google. From software support to new Android implementations, your experience solely lies in Google's hands. As quickly as the Android maker can tout a newest and greatest feature to be a massive leap forward in technology, they can also equally quickly pull that off. And that staple of your daily operation from your phone, suddenly gone. In this current era of smartphones, Google has found themselves at an advantage thanks to their immense database of searching power while prioritizing, beneficial AI implementation into their ecosystem that actually helps people in their daily lives. That's really the main reason why someone would be willing to pay what Google asks every single year for their flagship priced phones. Performance is of monumental importance when it comes to phones. I won't deny that. But the intangibles are also often underrated by people solely focusing on the spec sheets. The Pixel 10 Pro does a lot of great things, and the intangibles they handle quite well, and I never feel as if I'm not using a premium smartphone offering with this phone in my hand.